Hey, it's Linda Gay89. Okay, so today I just wanted to do a quick little video where I talked about how I met my husband. I had my son. He was only a couple months old at the time. And, I was going in and out of some relationships that just weren't working out. And I had called my older brother and I was complaining to him about how all guys were jerks and how I was just so done with guys. And he kind of like laughed at me and he was like, it's because you're dating assholes. He was like, let me pick your next boyfriend. And I was like, yeah, my older brother picked me a boyfriend. Like, yeah, that's going to end so well, right? He's my older brother. Like, he's not supposed to be okay with me dating people. But I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. So I told him that he could go ahead and pick my next boyfriend. So he was like, alright, give me like 5 minutes and I'll call you right back. And I was like, what? And he like hung up on me. So like not even 5 minutes later, I think it was like 3 minutes later, he calls me back and he was like, hey, so I had the perfect guy in mind and I called him and he said it was okay to give you his number. So here's his number. His name is Ben. Just go ahead and give him a call and just, see if you like him. So I was like, okay. So I called the number and I was like, hi, is this Ben? This is Linda. And he was like, yeah. From the first time I heard his voice, I was like, oh my gosh, like he's got such a nice voice. So I kind of like already liked him. Plus, he was friends with my brother, which was a plus because like I really like my older brother's approval on things. So we talked off and on for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, roughly. And he went through relationships during that time, and I went through relationships, but we just kind of, like, talked back and forth. Not, like, boyfriend, girlfriend, just kind of like, hey, what's up, how you doing, and every single time I would see my older brother, I'd be like, so, what's Ben up to, And, I thought it was, like, I don't think I even saw a picture of him for, like, the first, like, 2 months or something. And I was like, oh, so in love with him. I didn't even know what he looked like. Anyway, well, whenever I saw pictures of him, it just, like, added to it. Like, I love my husband. I think he's, like, so gorgeous. Anyway, well, my light died on me, but I'm gonna go ahead and just keep recording anyway. Okay, so, during one of the times when I wasn't talking to my husband, because like I said, we talked off and on. So one of the times that we weren't talking, I got back with my son's father for a little bit. And, also during that time I had my daughter, who has a different dad. But after I had her, I had gotten back with my son's father, and that didn't work out. I don't want to go into too much detail, but pretty much I had broken up with him and was trying to get him to, like, move on, and I was not succeeding in that at all. But I had broken up with him, and because I couldn't get him to, like, move on, I was, like, really fed up and tired of it. And so I remember calling my older brother and being like, hey, can I come down and stay with you? I have a 4-day weekend off of work this weekend, and I just need to get away. My older brother at the time lived, like, 8.5 or 9 hour drive from where I was. So he was like, yeah, come stay with me. So, so I went down with my brother, and, that's whenever I had actually my first date with my husband. That was in January of 2014. And we went out, and I just remember seeing him with my kids and just watching him and being like, I'm gonna marry this guy. Like, I'm going to marry this guy. And, before I had gone down that weekend, I had told all my friends that I was gonna fall in love that weekend and we were gonna get married and it was gonna be, like, fantastic, And I was kind of, like, joking around, but at the same time, like, I really liked this guy. My husband. And, so whenever I came down, we went on our first date, and I saw the way he interacted with my older 2 children, and I knew, like, he was the one. And I even remember telling him, like, we're gonna fall in love and get married this weekend. And I remember him, like, laughing it off. Like, he was like, yeah, like, this is our first date. Like, we're gonna fall in love and get married. Like, yeah, sure. Anyway, And, you know, but he told me, I thought it was so cute, but he told me, he was like, okay, I promise I'm going to fall in love with you and we'll get married. It just won't be this weekend. And remind you, this is our first date. So I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, well, do you want to date me? And he was like, yeah, but you know, the distance just isn't really working for me. And I was like, well, obviously you're not going to move up where I'm living and I'm tired of everything up there. So I'll just move down and we can date and see where that goes. So he was like, okay. So, after that 4-day weekend, I went back to where I was living. I put in, a transfer for my work. And by the beginning of March 2014, I was living, in San Antonio, where, like, I live on the outskirts right now, but in San Antonio, where I was close enough to be dating my husband. So, I got myself an apartment, and he, like, didn't move in, but, like, he was there all the time, so, like, he was moved in. Anyway, but by September 2014, he had already asked my dad for my hand in marriage. My dad had already agreed to it. I was already pregnant with our third baby, and we got married, and it couldn't have been, I couldn't have been happier with it.
Look at the little muscles on her belly. She's getting little muscles. Little muscles. Flex it. Flex it. Okay. I think she needs to be burped. Don't hit me. Keep your feet up. Batman?
Yeah.
Wait. Now go run between the smoke.
Daddy's coming. Ready? Well, you did. Well, you did. And they're gone.